the United States of America. You know, if the Muslims came over here 80 years ago in these numbers and tried these things, there wouldn't be any issue. You know, the United States government would handle it. Today, we have such a ridiculous disconnect between reality and what people think. It's just, this is the only way some things like this can continue to happen unabated and unanswered by the public even.
Pastor Joseph, we had a quick request during the break. What happens when we go to other search engines? And I should say, Google is the only search engine I know of that is now completely censoring the suggestions when it comes to Islam. However, just for kicks, I went to Yahoo, typed in Christianity is. Let me read you all the suggestions that pop up if you type in Christianity is on yahoo.com. Christianity is wrong, Christianity is false, Christianity is evil, Christianity is stupid, Christianity is a lie, Christianity is not a religion, Christianity is a cult, Christianity is pagan, Christianity is a hoax, Christianity is bad.
Not one positive in the whole thing.
Nothing great there. Now we type in Islam is, and Islam is the way of life. Islam is the light. And we do have a couple of negative ones. Islam is wrong, Islam is false. But 3 out of the top 5 there. Islam is a way of life, Islam is the light, and Islam is peace. 3 out of the top 5. Then you have Islam is wrong and Islam is false as well on there. But very, very interesting stuff. I mean, Muslims are complaining that everyone has this negative view of Islam, and everyone's doing everything in their power. The media, everyone is doing everything. The government, everyone is doing everything they can to portray Islam in a positive light, and it's still not enough.
It's not working.
It's never enough.
It's not working.
No, I mean, it's not enough in the eyes of Muslims. You are not doing enough for us.
Oh, that's right.
Why?
That's right.
Why? Because the entire world has to be submitted to Islam, and then Muslims will be happy. Until then, it's never enough.
You know, I wish I had the cartoon. There was a newspaper cartoon one time about Ahmadinejad, you know, and he's saying, I want peace, I want peace. And then it shows another picture, and it shows him pointing at Israel, and, you know, the whole Muslim Arab world around it is completely, you know, green and Islamic, and there's this little tiny Israel, and he's like, I want peace, I want peace. And then the second one, he's pointing, I want that peace. You know? I mean, of all of the Muslim world, 1.5 billion, Muslims go crazy throughout the world over this little tiny place. You know, I mean, I could understand it a little bit more if it was Mecca. You know, if those Zionists controlled Mecca, that might make a little more sense.
Think about this, though. The entire Muslim argument about Israel is, you guys took this, which is false. Jews had always lived there, and the Palestinians who are actually there left because the Muslims told them, hey, we're about to destroy this place. We're declaring war on this place. You better get out of there and get safe. But think about this. There were Palestinians there, and now no Palestinians are living there. Therefore, we should fight them until they give it back. Well, Mecca used to belong to pagans, my friends. And they were kicked out, and they're not allowed back there anymore. So I say free Mecca.
Yeah.
Free Mecca, my friends. Give it back to pagans. It used to belong to pagans. Muslims kicked them out because they were stronger.
Yes.
And now let the pagans back in. Medina used to have 3 tribes of Jews living there. Yeah. They were kicked out and killed by Muhammad. Give it back. Give it back to the Jews. In fact, I'll tell you this. If you Muslims give Medina back to the Jewish tribes, I will personally vote for the 2-state solution if you want it, or I'll personally say that any Palestinian should be allowed to move into Israel. Just give Medina back to the Jews. Just give Medina back. That's all I want. And give Mecca back to the pagans while we're at it.
You ever heard of that thing, hell freezing over, Brother Dave?
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it.
Well, that's interesting. You know,
we should do a show, Free Mecca, where we start calling that the pagans of the world should be able to gather together and come to Mecca and have their land back.
And we could do a sequel, Jahiliyyah 2. Well, here's the thing. News and Views, you might not have seen it, but we've been asking our viewers to call in with bumper sticker ideas. You know, we had a guy just last night, Jihad Underpants, you know, and
Free Mecca.
Free Mecca. That's the best one. Get rid of Free Tibet. That's a bunch of liberal bozos.
Give Medina back to the Jews.
Give Medina back to the Jews. Banu Qurayza up, you know. Well, we've had enough fun. And I know there's probably some Muslims saying, look at these guys, and cursing us and all this. But, you know, what we're talking about are all based in fact. For example, Israel, you know, one time I was in a class. Let me just say this, and we'll go to the calls real quick. I was in a class. What kind of class? I was in a class, a Christian class, about how to convert Muslims. What do you think of that? Anyways, and they said, the guy says, you know, he was like, well, you know, we have to remember that we need to be sensitive to the Palestinians. The Jews took their land and this, that, and the other thing. And I understand that. I'm half Arab, and I've heard it all my life. But I said, you know, okay, I understand what you're saying, but what about the fact that the Muslims took the land by force before that? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, well,
I said, what do you mean it doesn't matter? That was a long time ago.
Think about this. Muslims took Mecca. Muslims kicked the Jews out of Medina. Muslims took all of Arabia. Mm-hmm. Muslims took Israel. Muslims took Persia. Muslims went across Northern Africa.
Yep.
Muslims went up into Europe.
Yeah.
In Islam, it's perfectly acceptable to conquer a land and declare it a Muslim country.
Sure.
But if anyone says, hey, we're going to take a part of a land because we're stronger than you or something like that, totally unacceptable, worldwide outrage.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Two different standards. Muslims can do whatever we want to other people, but no one can do anything to us. Where do Muslims get this from? It goes back to their own Quran. It goes back to their own prophet. Remember Muhammad, when he fled Mecca. He was allowed to start killing. He was allowed to kill even during the holy month.
Yeah.
Because the pagans were not allowing them to take the pilgrimage to Mecca.
To the pagan Mecca.
Yeah. So the pagans said the Muslims can no longer take the pilgrimage to Mecca. Horrible. It requires any sort of terrorism. Any sort of terrorism you want to do now, even during the holy month.
Yeah.
That is now acceptable because they are not allowing us. They're not allowing us to take the Hajj to Mecca.
Strike terror.
Later on, when Muslims took over Mecca, no more pagans are allowed to come to Mecca for the pilgrimage. Perfectly acceptable, reasonable. Why? Because Islam is the true religion and no one else should be allowed to do anything here. Think about that.
Double standard.
It's wrong. It's wrong for any other group to do anything against us. But it's perfectly acceptable for us to do anything we want to any other group. We see that at the very beginning of Islam, and it's exactly what we see in the world today. On Google, we see it in their rallies. We see it anytime anything happens involving Islam. We can do whatever we want to you. Don't you dare do anything back to us.
Very good. Thank you, Brother David. Let's go to our callers. We don't have many so far, and it doesn't surprise me because Muslims don't have a case when it comes to peace and violence. But nevertheless, we do hope to hear from our callers, whether they're Muslim, Christian, or otherwise. And we'd like to take the first caller tonight's program right now. Welcome. You're on the air with Jesus or Muhammad.
Hello, Brother Joseph. How you doing, Brother Dave?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Actually, I just have two quick comments, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, first, in the beginning of the show, you showed two clips about the rally.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
One about Israel and the second one about the terror.
Yes.
The first one, I believe you know the reason why, and you know what's happened in Palestine and what people they've been suffering is true.
Yeah.
So that rally is okay. The second rally, which is not too many Muslims, they show up, and the answer is very simple, Brother Dave, especially for you, Brother Dave. You know the answer? The answer, because most Muslims, they know, since September 11 until now, what's happened and what's going on every day about this terror, and somebody try to wrote the plane down and the towers and all this stuff. You know who's behind it. You know who's behind it. You know, brother, more than me. Ask the CIA. That's the one behind it. Ask Michael Moore. Ask George Galloway. Ask your Christian brothers.
How about the Zionists? Don't forget those measly Zionists. Don't forget the Zionists.
Brother.
We're all about the Zionists.
Brother, you know what? You know this. Brother, this hello?
Yes.
Yes, but please, before you go any further, don't forget the Zionists. Don't leave them out. They're going to feel like you are.